Welcome to Vinyl Reckoning. My name is Matt. That's it. It's just me. I wanted to tell you all I finally have a setup I am proud of. By setup, I mean my audio setup for my vinyl records. I wanted to show all of you, and I didn't want to make it any sort of how-to or follow my lead. There's way too many of those. I'm proud of it. I want to show it off. Most of the audio files on YouTube, if not all of them, will absolutely make fun of me for this. It's fine. I want to start out by saying for the longest time that I made the same mistakes as a lot of vinyl collectors. You focus so much on the collection, you neglect the actual audio setup of everything. I'm fully willing to admit, too, that I started out like most people who are into collecting. A cheap Crosley type turntable that probably isn't good for your records. After, buying that cheap turntable, over the years, I discovered what worked for me. My first real turntable was a direct drive, I believe Techniques turntable, like a DJ turntable, probably around 2004. Obviously, I still had no clue what I was doing. I used that for years, and I learned that I just wasn't a fan of direct drive turntables. No real reason. I'm not going to, get into the debate which is better, which isn't. But knowing what little I knew about belt-driven turntables, it was the way I wanted to go. I heard a ton about pro-ject around 2011. Everywhere I went, blogs, friends' houses, they all had pro-ject turntables. And although I've strayed once or twice over the last 11 years from that brand, it kind of always pulls me back in. I really do love pro-ject turntables. Now with that being said, let's start there. Currently I'm running a pro-ject Debut Carbon Esprit SB in a glossy red. I've always had black or wood grain finishes, and I really wanted this thing to stand out amongst all the black and grays in my setup. I want it to be heard and seen. My turntable shipped with an acrylic platter and an Ortophone 2M red stylus. I've always really enjoyed Ortophone, so I was psyched to have the 2M red ship with it. One of my favorite things about this turntable is the button speed change. It really becomes cumbersome having to move the belt every time you want to change speeds, but that's the price you pay when you want a fully manual table. Over the last 2 years of owning it, I've made a few upgrades that I'm really happy with. First, starting by upgrading to the Ortophone 2M Blue. A small but decent jump. In my opinion, frankly, I'm just not qualified enough to change the full cartridge, so we're not quite there yet. One day I will upgrade to a bronze or black. The next upgrade was my aluminum subplatter, up from the stock plastic one. Some people will tell you this makes a huge world of difference. It makes a little bit of a difference with, reducing vibration, static, things like that, but it is not somewhere I would go for your first upgrade for a turntable like this. The turntable sits on a butcher block acoustic isolation platform. This was actually a gift, and I love it. Again, not a top tier upgrade, but other than the feet on the turntable, I've run out of basic upgrades. Moving on to what the turntable is hooked up to. I've never been disappointed in anything I've heard from Marantz, so I decided to go with the PM6006. Not their top of the line by any means, but I really do love it. It does have a phono input, so for me, there was no need to have something to amplify the sound from the turntable. Some would argue that I could use a nice tube amp, which I could, and they are right, but I'm very currently happy with the sound that phono input produces. Everybody needs speakers, right? Okay, well, maybe not everybody, but let's talk about speakers. When searching for new ones, I had two stipulations. One, I knew I wanted floor standing speakers, and two, I wanted them to sound good to me. That's it. That's all I required. For a year and a half, I heard all different kinds of speakers, and a buddy had a pair of JBL A170s, and I really enjoyed what I was hearing. Full disclosure, until I saw these speakers, I thought JBL only made Bluetooth portable speakers. I knew nothing about JBL. I ended up getting an insane deal on these because they were being discontinued via Crutchfield. Could I have gotten a newer model? Absolutely. But it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of spending when you're trying to upgrade. Stick to a budget. Living in a small apartment has its downsides. Who knew, right? So if it's late at night or early in the morning and I want to throw a record on, without headphones I couldn't. I could, it would just be a real jerk thing to do. I'm absolutely obsessed with finding good headphones. I have 3 pairs of daily drivers and 1 specifically for listening to records. Once again, I was on a budget and I was having issues finding over-the-ear headphones that worked for me. One of the many YouTube channels I watch, Dank Pods, said this pair was the best bang for your buck, if you will. And on top of that, offered a discount code. So I figured, why not? These are the Meze Audio Neos from their 99 series. A more budget-friendly version of the 99 Classics. The only real difference is they use a high-quality plastic instead of a wood build. Let me tell you, these things sound amazing. Full range of sound, everything is there. Lows, highs, mids, a very full-sounding experience from these. If you're looking for wired headphones for your vinyl setup, for under $200, $200 or under, I should say, these are the ones you want to go with. Guarantee you won't be disappointed. I do want to give a final shout out to my JVC dual cassette deck, because of course I collect cassettes. This thing has been with me for years. It's been beaten up, bounced around, cleaned multiple times, fixed multiple times. It's a workhorse, and it was free. I got it from a family member who obviously thought I was insane for wanting a cassette deck. They weren't wrong. Also, if you're ever looking for a cassette deck, go to Goodwill. Guaranteed you can find them. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope this gives you some sort of insight. I don't know what kinds, but hey, I can dream, right? For Vinyl Reckoning, my name is Matt. Y'all be easy. Have a good night.